Chapter 123 to 128. Ramiris, so, why were you looking for me? Oh, I never really explained it to her. Rimuru, well, it's kind of a long story. I made a friend, but she died. However, before she died, I promised her to fulfill all the regrets she had, and saving some students of hers is one of them. To save them, I need your help, so. Yeah, that's the gist of it. Ramiris, Ramiris closes her eyes, thinking over what I just said. Mikoto, Ilya, and even Ranga wait silently beside me, hoping that she won't just outright refuse to help us. They've come to like her in a way, it would be a shame if I had to force her to help. Ramiris, I need you to give me the full story first. I can't decide with just that amount of information. If you had those students here already, I could take a look at them to see if they're worthy of my help, but otherwise, I can't really do anything. Rimuru worthy? Ramiris, yeah, I can't help someone with bad intentions now, can I? I can generally see if someone is good or bad by looking at them. Come to think of it, Trainee can do something similar, although she has to sneakily follow that person for a while as she did with me before contacting me for the Orc Lord problem. Is it some kind of speciality among spirits? I look towards my companions, silently asking them what I should do. They respond with a small shrug, to which I turn back to Ramiris. Rimuru, yeah, we don't mind staying a bit longer. I say as I take out a sheet of cloth from my gluttony stomach and spread it over the ground. Rimuru, come on, sit down. It's gonna take a while to explain, I'll do it while we eat. Ramiris' eyes start to sparkle as she leans in while rubbing her hands together. Ramiris, so, about those cookies you mentioned. Rimuru, ha. I have something better than cookies. Ramiris, better than cookies. I smirk at the floating fairy that's looking at me as if I just committed the greatest sacrilege and use Ahura Mazda to create a plate of steaming hot meat buns. These bad boys are gonna rock your world. Ramiris looks at the buns warily as Mikoto, Ilya, Ranga, and I all dig in. I then begin to explain the important bits of the story in detail. About how Shizue stumbled upon my, at the time, village, about how Mikoto and I quickly became friends with her, and about how she died peacefully. During this part, Mikoto was feeling a little depressed, feeling bitter over the matter. Although it's been a long time, she never forgot. Ilya sat in Mikoto's lap in an attempt to cheer her up, which thankfully worked. Although Ilya personally wasn't there, she shares my memory of those moments during her time as a skill, so she also feels grief over this matter. Well, I also feel sad over it, but I can't show any weakness. I'm a man, at heart, after all. Ramiris, are you okay? Rimuru *sniff *I am good, hic. I randomly wipe my eyes with a handkerchief, completely random, I swear, and continue explaining. I didn't tell her about Shizue's reincarnation into a hellcat named Shizu. I then move on to Shizue's students, about their status as failed summoned heroes and their magical rampage condition. I then talk about my theory about fusing greater spirits with the kids and stabilizing their magicules. I use the word theory very loosely because it's already pretty much confirmed in the series, so. Rimuru, and that's pretty much it. I finish my explanation and look over at the small fairy eating a meat bun the size of her body with a blissful look on her face. Ramiris, humu, I understand now. Those kids are quite innocent in the matter, so I don't mind helping. But I refuse. Rimuru and Nanny. In all seriousness though, I had a slight inkling she might refuse. It doesn't matter what she looks like or how she acts, she's a bona fide demon lord in the end. She's not running a charity. See, Mikoto and Ilya didn't even flinch, meaning they totally expected it. Munch. Or it might be that they're just indulging too much in the meat buns. In any case, I came looking for Ramiris to strike a deal, and it's not a deal if only one side is providing benefits. Rimuru, then how about this? I'll make a completely new golem for you to replace your elemental colossus. Ramiris, ha. You mean the elemental colossus you broke? Ramiris snaps at me as she finishes the last bite of her meat bun. I hold up another meat bun, to which she snatches it out of my hands. Rimuru, you were saying? Ramiris, nothing. Rimuru ***, as I was saying, this new golem will be much stronger than the elemental colossus you just magically lost. It'll also be fully sentient, so it can even act as some kind of lackey, assistant to you. Ramiris' eyes sparkle. It seems she really wants a new golem. I'm pretty sure she just wants an assistant more than a guardian, but meh, not my problem. Ramiris, very well, if you insist so much, I accept. I wasn't insisting, but okay. Ramiris proudly pushes out her chest after stuffing the rest of the meat bun into her mouth. Where the fuck does she fit 2 meat buns that are almost her size in that small body? No wait, she's a spiritual being, so it makes sense in a way. She doesn't exactly have a physical stomach, so. Did I just solve the foodie saber, Artoria, problem? Is this why she eats so much? Holy she eat. Cough. In any case, a successful deal has been struck between Ramiris and me. I would make her a powerful sentient golem, and in return, she will grant me access to the dwelling of the spirits along with Shizue's students to get them their spirits and save their lives. Ramiris Ano, can you make the golem now? I mean, I don't think I can have the labyrinth completely defenseless while you're gone, since that elemental colossus you dash creates a mini Kamehameha. Ramiris' elemental colossus that just disappeared into thin air kinda was the only thing that could put up a good fight, so. Ramiris shyly asks, while pointing her fingers together like an anime girl. No wait, she is an anime girl, never mind. Rimuru, well, it shouldn't take too long. I guess I'll be making a golem for her right now then. Right, I'm gonna make a golem for Ramiris, but, where do I start? Obviously, it has to be sentient, having a mind of its own and being able to communicate and things like that. I mean, it doesn't have to think for itself and talk, but I want it to. I don't want to make a mindless puppet. That's one of the reasons I don't make golems for Avalon anymore. I did it once, but it just felt off. So yeah, it's gotta think for itself and preferably talk. Ramiris also seems to want an assistant, slave, too, and knowing how irresponsible she is, someone like a butler is very appealing to me. I also want it to look humanoid, with 2 arms and 2 legs standing upright. The reason for that is because, well, I don't really have a reason. I guess it's because I want to make it like me, its creator. I guess making it look like a cool animal is also an option. A robotic dragon, wolf, tiger, things like that. Maybe a giant robotic cockroach? Yeah, no. Humanoid it is. It also has to be strong. I don't want it to fucking die after someone farts in its general direction. It's gotta have a lot of weapons, be tough physically and magically, and preferably can blow up something and walk away from it casually like a badass. Yeah, I've gotta go with that, huh. Rimuru, right, let's get started. Ramiris, oh. You're starting? Ramiris excitedly hovers over my shoulder, eagerly anticipating her new lackey. Rimuru, yup, just give me a moment. My companions also stop playing with the fairies for a bit and look in my direction, wondering what absurdity I'm going to make next. I crack my fingers and get to work. First, using Ahura Mazda, I create a body. This body is made entirely out of strong as fuck metal. Yes, strong as fuck metal. It's a metal I named that's a fusion of all the hardest materials that I could think of, like adamantium, mithril, orichalcum, vibranium, my D. Cough. Sorry, random cough. I can't even cough with this body, so I don't know why I did. What was I talking about? Ah yes, strong as fuck metal. Yamato is also made out of this shit, but I haven't named it strong as fuck metal at the time. In any case, it appears on the ground around 6 foot tall. Completely made out of metal and colored in red and gold, it's a figure that's quite easily recognized by any that came from my world. Ilya, is that? Rimuru, yes, my dear Amuto. It is. It's Patrick Star. Wait, what? Beep. We are experiencing technical difficulties, please stand by. It's Iron Man. It looks exactly like the 85 Malawian Kwacha's endgame version cost. That's the best looking one in my opinion. In fact, it doesn't just look like 85 Malawian Kwacha's Iron Man, it ISMK 85 Iron Man. It's made entirely out of strong as fuck nanomachines and everything. It's got a Magicule arc reactor and runes made through scat hack, written all along the inside of it to make it fit into this magic-based fantasy world that runs off said arc reactor. Those runes give all kinds of passive enchantments, but it mainly gives it pseudo-skills like universal sense, infinite regeneration, so it can regenerate any lost nanomachines, multi-layer barrier, shapeshift, and several other less notable ones. In any case, that's the body. Now it needs a mind. In the series, OG Rimuru summoned a demon and stuffed it into the doll body he made. He named that demon Beretta, which later became a loyal servant/assistant/caretaker for Ramiris. I'm not naive enough to think I can just summon a random demon and get him exactly Heck, I'm not even sure I can get one of the same color lineage as him. For demons, they all belong to a color lineage which roughly determines their personality, whether they would be hostile to humanity or not. Beretta is of the black lineage, the lineage of Diablo, who are known to be whimsical. I don't think I can ever summon OG Beretta, but I would like to summon a demon of the black lineage at least. This way, I could just stuff the demon into the Iron Man body I have here and call it a day. I could just make an advanced AI, but summoning a demon and having it serve Ramiris just sounds cooler. In any case, knowing my luck in matters like these, which is basically just magical slightly dangerous gacha, I decided to rig the game and make it a guaranteed black pull. And to do that, I gotta call one of the devs. I invoke thought communication, thinking about a certain primordial demon. Rimuru, hey Diablo, you there? There's no answer for a couple of seconds. Thinking something might be happening, I attempt to ask again, but Diablo quickly responds. Diablo era? Rimuru-sama. How it overjoys me to hear your melodious voice again. Rimuru, are you good? You would normally respond immediately, did something happen? Diablo, no, nothing of the sort Rimuru-sama. I'm just meeting with an old friend currently. For some reason, I can tell that he's toning down his situation heavily at the moment. He said he's going to recruit some of his comrades to work under me, right? That should mean he's meeting with the other primordial demons not currently in a faction. So, yeah, he's probably beating one of them into the ground at the moment. Well, he's one of the strongest primordial demons, and he got even stronger after I named him, so he should be fine. Rimuru, okay. In any case, I want to summon a demon and give it a physical body, and I want to summon one from your color lineage, preferably a butler type. Can you help me out? Diablo. Rimuru. Diablo? Diablo Rimuru-sama, am I not up to your standards? I can feel the depression through the thought communication. Jesus Christ, it's like Oyasumi Punpun all over again. Rimuru, no. You're more than I could ever ask for. I need to summon this demon for someone else, not me. Diablo, oh. Is that so? Your words have the miraculous effect of shaking my emotions in such ways that I've never felt before. As expected of you, Rimuru-sama. How did it come to that? Sigh. Diablo, on the matter of summoning, you've already named me, so you can simply use that connection to summon a demon of my lineage. Oh, that makes sense. When I name a monster, a little soul corridor opens between us. Diablo is saying I can use that connection to draw some of his magicules to call a black demon. Rimuru, Ilya, can you use my connection with Diablo in a summoning? Ilya just thinks for barely a moment before nodding. Rimuru, it'll work, thanks for the advice. Diablo, it is my honor to be of service to you, Rimuru-sama. Now if you'll excuse me, I must continue chatting with my comrade. The thought communication cuts off after that last message. That man scares me sometimes. Oh well, not my problem. On to summoning the demon. Right, I want to summon a demon and yeet it into the Iron Man body I have prepared. Let's get started. I crack my fingers, don't ask how I can do that, and write down some temporary demon summoning runes with my foot. I now realize I didn't actually need to crack my fingers. Moving on. Normally, you would also need to mutter a chant of some kind, but I don't need to since the runes I get with Scat Hack are powerful enough on their own. Well, I guess I might as well, just to add to the atmosphere. I mean, I'm summoning a demon. It's the least I can do. I carelessly lob the Iron Man body in the center of the runes, much to Ramiris' horror, before placing a finger on my chin and thinking for a moment. What should I say? The most demonic chant I can think of. Oh. I got it. Rimuru Ola, mi nombro is Jeff, grassy ass. Immediately after, the runes light up ominously and the summoning begins. What did I say? Simple, I just said, hello, my name is Jeff, thank you in Spanish, hola mi nombre es Jeff, gracias. I remember saying this once for my Spanish homework at home when all my furniture started floating and it seemed pretty demonic to me, so I just said it again here and, success. I bet Shizu would be proud. Meanwhile, back in Avalon, a certain Hellcat wakes up from her napping and stares towards the horizon in the direction Rimuru and his companions just so happen to be. Shizu. I sense a disturbance in the Force Naya. She continues to stare for a little while longer, before ignoring it and going back to sleep. Back to Rimuru. Magicules that remind me of Diablo flows from my chest, down my right arm and into the runes surrounding the Iron Man body. The runes glow even brighter, shimmering in an ominous red light as a demon answers my call from the spiritual world. It begins to possess the body as the fingers twitch every now and again. After a few more seconds pass, the eyes of the armor light up in a surprisingly calm blue glow. I lean over to Mikoto and whisper, "Rimuru, do demons normally have blue eyes? I thought red was more of their thing. You know, since red is a more sinister color." Mikoto just shrugs and shakes her head with a clueless expression, to which I match and look back towards the body as it smoothly stands up. "A pleasure to meet you all. I came because I sensed familiar magicules that belong only to those of my color lineage, and I happen to be the strongest in the immediate area. I grew curious, and thus, I have answered your summons." The demon now possessing the Iron Man body bows humbly towards all of us. His voice sounds, not to be racist, British, 'cause they have all the best butler sounds. The accent is on point and his voice also sounds like the real deal. "Rimuru, you're perfect. As expected of Diablo, the ideal butler personality demon has arrived. This is the exact guy I wanted." "What's that? What about Beretta? Who's Beretta?" Anywho, moving on. "Rimuru, right, your name will be Jarvis from now on. I mean, it's a perfect name from him, is it not? He also sounds just like Jarvis from the movies." "Ramiris, ooh. What a good name." Ramiris also approves, clapping in joy as I feel a small amount of magicules flow into the demon, granting it the name Jarvis and giving it a power boost. Its arc reactor in its chest glows slightly before dying down. "Jarvis, Jarvis. That is my name. I shall serve you well to live up to your expectations," Jarvis says a bit emotionally. I forgot that giving names is a very special thing, so giving him a name right off the bat seems a bit impulsive. Oh well. I don't care. "Rimuru, yeah, that's nice and all, but, you're serving her, not me," I say as I point in Ramiris' direction. She places her hands on her hips and puffs her chest out as she raises her nose towards the sky in a haughty manner. Jarvis looks in her direction before looking back at me and silently pointing at her, to which I just nod. I can see the light die from its eyes. "Rimuru **** well, how about introductions?" "Ramiris, hi. Me first. Ahem, I am the great demon lord Ramiris of the labyrinth. Consider it an honor to serve me." Ew, she did it without biting her tongue. I am in awe. I lightly clap my hands as I can see Jarvis convince himself that at least he's going to serve a bona fide demon lord. Seeing our lack of reactions to her claim as a demon lord, he realizes that she isn't exactly lying. Meanwhile, my companions also begin to introduce themselves. "Ilya, I'm Ilya, Oni-chan's little sister," Ilya says as she jumps on one of my arms, wrapping her arms around it. I just pat her head with my free hand as Mikoto steps forward and introduces herself. "Mikoto, I'm Misaka Mikoto. Although Mikoto is my first name, not Misaka. You can just call me that." Mikoto has been living in this world so long that she's now a little apathetic towards people she's not really acquainted with calling her by her first name. At first, it was really uncomfortable for her, but thankfully she got used to it. Japanese and their damn language. "Ranga, I am Ranga, one of Master's most faithful servants." Ranga introduces himself while wagging his tail. Jarvis' eyes that are looking at him show a hint of jealousy. Oh boy, it seems he really doesn't have many expectations of Ramiris. Well, OG Beretta was like this too. Eventually, he came to enjoy serving Ramiris, so I'm not too worried about Jarvis betraying Ramiris. Who's Beretta? "Rimuru, actually, why don't I do this?" I lift the hand patting Ilya's head and extend my pointer finger towards Ramiris, who is floating right next to me. She looks at me curiously, wondering what I'm going to do before I touch Ramiris' forehead with my finger. Ilya, immediately knowing what I'm trying to do, helps me through invoking the Manus Iliasviel. Immediately after, the connection I have with Jarvis disappears and is instead transferred to Ramiris. This way, it'll be as if Ramiris herself named him, but she doesn't lose any magicules. Smiling at the fairy that is now shocked to her very core with the new connection she has with the golem in front of her, I turn to Jarvis while resuming patting Ilya's head. Meanwhile, Mikoto looks at Ramiris with an expression that says, "I know what you're going through." And Ranga is jumping around, trying to catch the elusive fairies. "Rimuru, how's your body?" Jarvis snaps out of his stupor before he flexes and rotates his arms around a bit. Jarvis, in all honesty, this is probably the best body I could ever ask for. I have an innate knowledge of its capabilities, but it will take some time to grow fully accustomed to utilizing this body's massive potential to its maximum capacity. Jarvis replies while forming plasma cannons with his hands before changing them to energy blades. Nanomachines are really something, huh? In any case, Jarvis is born and is now a subordinate under Demon Lord Ramiris, much to her absolute delight. Ramiris is flying around him, inspecting every inch of his metallic surface as Jarvis just stands there, contemplating his life choices. I look between Jarvis and Ramiris with a pondering expression. Rimuru, hey, Jarvis, couldn't Ramiris were you? Jarvis stops staring into space and looks at me before looking at the floor thinking about it. Ramiris, eh? What? Where Jarvis? Ramiris looks towards me with an excited expression, getting a feeling that something exciting is gonna happen. Rimuru, well, Jarvis' body was designed after a suit of armor a genius from another world made to help him fight. I didn't change much about the armor part, meaning he can be worn. Ramiris, really? Cough, well, it's not like I need any supportive gear for someone on my strength levels, but I would gladly use you to at least limit my overwhelming strength so I don't instantly turn my enemies to ash. Ramiris turns to Jarvis and practically begs him with her eyes to let her wear him. Rimuru, yeah. There's a problem with that though. I say while sheepishly scratching the back of my head. Mikoto. Can you even fit? Mikoto voices out the exact problem I had in my mind. Jarvis is just a bit over 6 feet tall. Ramiris is just under 30 centimeters. Do you see the problem? Crack. I heard Ramiris' hopes and dreams crack as a trail of blood trails out of her mouth. Jarvis. It might be possible. After Jarvis finished speaking, he speaks out, sparking Ramiris' hopes again. Jarvis, I have the shapeshift skill from the runes inscribed into the inside of my body. I can possibly shrink my body to fit Ramiris-sama size. Jarvis has already begun to unconsciously call Ramiris Ramiris-sama, which is good. But can you shrink with the shapeshift skill? I know you can increase your size by using magicules by supplementing your lacking body mass with black mist, but shrinking. Ramiris, quick. Try it. Try. Ramiris is practically shaking from excitement. Looking at her, I can practically hear the thoughts passing through her head. I don't have to be a weakling anymore. I feel a bit sorry for all that she had to go through. Unfortunately for her, she had to reincarnate several times. Once she reaches the peak of power for her current self, she reincarnates again, starting from scratch. That's why she, who is quite weak right now, is a demon lord. She probably used to be quite strong back in the past, but now she's quite weak compared to the other demon lords, even demon lord seeds like Carrion, Fry and Clayman. In any case, Jarvis might give her a power boost to her current weak self, which is probably why she's so hyped. In any case, Jarvis begins to shrink. Yes, shrink. He gets smaller and smaller, and when he reaches about half height, he begins to fly using the repulsors in his palms and feet. Very quickly his height lessens until he's about the same size as Ramiris, both of them hovering in the air, facing each other. Jarvis then turns around and back up towards Ramiris, who eagerly opens her arms wide as she eventually sinks into armor. The armor then shifts its form. Its waist shrinks, its chest expands, only a little, and its legs, arms, and fingers become more feminine. Its biggest changes are on its back and helmet. Ramiris' wings are covered with an extremely thin layer of nanomachines, gaining a blue neon glow as its edges gain a red metallic hue. The helmet, on the other hand, forms 2 sharp pieces of metal extending from its sides, accommodating Ramiris' long elf-like ears. It honestly fits quite well, looking like decorative pieces for her helmet. Somehow, Ramiris still glows with soft yellowish golden light, but I don't question it. It's probably a fairy thing. Or more anime bullshit, I don't know nor do I care. The repulsors on Jarvis' hands and feet stop functioning as the wings' blue glow intensifies as they become responsible for keeping Ramiris in the air. Ramiris looks down at her hands without saying anything. She opens and closes her fingers curiously, looking up her arm before noticing her whole body. Ramiris. Mikoto. Are you okay? Ramiris. It's... Ilya, it's... Ramiris, it's beautiful. Ahahaha. Ramiris' wings glow even brighter. Crack, bang. Before I even realize it, she starts flying all over the room, splintering the winds from her acceleration. She's just a red, yellow, and blue blur at the speed she's going. Her laughter is echoing from all over the room. If it weren't for the enclosed space, I do not doubt that she could potentially break the sound barrier several times. Of course, you can also hear Jarvis trying to calm her down. Jarvis, Ramura-sama, please slow down. This is your very first flight using the armor, you should take things slow and calibrate yourself with it before you use such speeds. Immediately after, he was proven right. Clank. Ramiris clips her foot on a piece of rubble on the ground as she was flying low and ended up spinning out. Bang! She flew straight into the wall in front of her, embedding herself into it and cracking the wall around her point of impact. Ramiris, ugh. That hurt. Ramiris groans as she slides out of the armor, rubbing her back as she slowly floats over towards where my companions and I are waiting. Jarvis, on the other hand, forces himself out of the wall, landing on the ground before walking on the ground, following Ramiris as he grows, returning to his original size and more masculine form. Rimuru, so? I ask while raising my eyebrow in amusement. Ramiris, ahem, I meant to do that. I was testing his durability. She says with a proud smile while floating over to Jarvis and playfully hitting his shoulder. Jarvis looks at Ramiris and sighs. Jarvis, apologies, Ramura-sama. I will try to work on reducing the impact you feel upon collision. Ramiris, right, you do that. Ramiris sheepishly says, but we all know she won't admit to her fault. Mikoto looks at the crack on the wall before turning to Ramiris. Mikoto, hey, why didn't you just leave Jarvis as he is and pilot him like a giant robot? Holy shit, I didn't think of that. Ramiris, WOAH. I could do that. She snaps her head in Jarvis' direction with sparkling eyes. Jarvis, it should be feasible. Jarvis confirms and Ramiris shouts in joy for more things to test. Rimuru, you also have to test out Jarvis in combat, but... Unfortunately, we have to go. We've stayed here long enough, it's time to move on. Ramiris, You're going already? Rimuru, unfortunately, yes. I've got another stop before I head to Ingracia and I don't want to lose too much time. Ilya will meet again with the kids later. Ramiris, Alright. Come back quickly. Ramiris seems unsatisfied but still said goodbye while telling us to visit soon. Jarvis, I am thankful to you for gifting me my body and my name. As long as Ramura-sama allows it, I shall do whatever you ask of me. Jarvis says with a butler-like bow. Ramiris doesn't seem bothered by his words, so I take it as she is also pretty thankful to me. Ramiris, now. Let's test out your weapons. Ramiris switches her attention to Jarvis after waving her hand at us, opening a portal behind us leading to the entrance of her labyrinth. I wave goodbye at her as I walk through along with Mikoto, Ilya, and Ranga. Rimuru, try not to blow yourself up. Ramiris, ha. There's no way the great me would do something like that. She haughtily shouts as the portal closes behind me. I'm still worried. Should I have put on some kind of training wheels protocol? Mikoto. Hey, I was thinking about this for a while and now that we're moving on, I thought I might as well ask. Why couldn't you just use your runes to solve the rampaging Magicals problem with Shizue's students? Rimuru. My dear Mikoto, you need to stop thinking so much. Rimuru, right, on to the next stop. I say as Ranga increases his size, with all three of us already on his back. Ranga's tail is wagging so quickly, it looks like a white blur. He's so eager to run. I almost feel bad for ruining his hopes. I'm joking, I feel awful. I can feel my heart crack. Mikoto, so, where are we going? Rimuru, to the Holy Empire of Rubrios. I need to talk to a certain student of Shizue's. Mikoto doesn't say anything as she processes the words I just spoke. Mikoto. Shizue had other students. Rimuru, I didn't tell you? Shizue had 2 other students before she retired and became a teacher at Ingracia. One of them is Yuki Kagurazaka and the other is Hinata Sakaguchi. Ilya Yuki is the current Grandmaster of the Free Guild and Hinata is one of the Western Church's 10 great saints. Both of them are otherworlders. We're going to go talk with Hinata in Rubrios before going to Ingracia. I need to get something out of the way first. Ilya interjects with some additional information as Mikoto tries to digest this new knowledge, still shocked at the realization that Shizue had some very successful students. Mikoto, does that mean Shizue was really responsible? Flashback to Shizu causing mayhem in Avalon. No, that's not possible. I hear Mikoto muttering to herself. The reason I'm going to see Hinata is to inform her of what happened to her teacher Shizue. Originally, Yuki, the crazy bastard, fed her false information saying that OG Rimuru killed Shizue with malicious intent. Seeking revenge, she sought to kill OG Rimuru and almost succeeded if not for his plot armor, if not for him tricking her. Even then, he barely escaped death. In the end, he was still delayed on his return to the city of Rimuru, which spoilers led to many people dying including Cheyenne. I want to stop all that by telling Hinata what actually happened, which should spare Avalon from her wrath. That's my plan at least. Rimuru, oh yeah, and Yuki is a psychopath that wants to destroy the world, but no one knows that. Spark fizzle. Mikoto.exe has stopped working. Rest in peace. Ranga Rubrios? Unfortunately, I am unaware of its location. Master, Ilya-sama, which direction should I go? Ranga eagerly asks with his tail wagging even faster. God, I feel bad for saying this. Rimuru, it's even further than Ingracia, which is already far as it is, so. Ilya, we're gonna use a portal. Dong. I hear that dramatic bell as Ranga's hopes disappear into ashes. Feeling my soul threatening to shatter into pieces seeing him in this condition, I turn into my slime form and jump over Mikoto and Ilya straight onto Ranga's head. Rimuru, cheer up bud. I'll stay here for the rest of the journey there. Ranga *sniff really. Rimuru umu. Ranga thankfully accepts my proposal and cheers up, if only a bit. Ilya, who's sitting in front of Mikoto, stares at my aerodynamic body with sparkling eyes, before she proceeds to poke it with her finger. Poke poke poke. What is this? This feels so relaxing. Who knew getting poked by a loli would be exactly what I need? Ilya Oniai-chan is so soft. Oh dear, oh dear. Gorgeous. Anyway, I get the special coordinates for the general location of our destination and I open a portal leading there and Ranga walks through. On the other side of the portal, we find ourselves in the middle of a sparse forest. Using universal sense, I find a road nearby and point it out to Ranga. He accelerates gradually and we quickly find ourselves at the well-treaded dirt road. Now, which way do we go? I could use the tried method of just letting the stick decide, but I have a better idea. Rimuru Ilya, do we go left or right? And that is to ask our resident GPS. Ilya, left. She looks around for a moment and then confidently tells us which way we should go before she goes back to poking me. And so, Ranga starts running. Cue the boredom. A few hours later, we find ourselves coming up on a giant city surrounded by walls. There's a fuck ton of white in that city, it's like it's made out of chalk. I can practically feel the holiness emanating off the walls. It burns my soul. I feel like doing something productive for once. Disgusting. The walls are white, the smooth pointed towering buildings you can see over the walls are also white. The people inside the city are, you guessed it, also white. A little racist, not gonna lie. Mikoto Rimuru. A newly recovered Mikoto calls out my name. Rimuru, I know. There's a barrier covering the city. This barrier is specifically designed to keep monsters out. Not only that, there's an even stronger sensory barrier covering the city that will warn any higher-ups of any monster that somehow gets past the first barrier. Rimuru as expected of the Holy Empire of Rubrios. A massive empire that is the center of the Western Holy Church, also known as the Luminous Faith, influencing all of the Western countries except for a few. Being the bane of monsters, of course, they would have barriers specializing in defense against them. If they didn't, I would be honestly a bit disappointed. Anyway, Mikoto is human, so she's fine. As for Ilya, although she isn't human, she definitely isn't a monster, so she also passes. As for Ranga and I, well. Scat hack, Lord of Runes. Runes for the win. In any case, the city is big. Like, really big. Much bigger than Blumen's royal capital. Several big buildings look important, so finding one with Hinata Sakaguchi inside of it will be a bit of a pain. Ilya found her. Rimuru ooh. Already? I forgot that Ilya is thankfully OP in situations like this. Ilya yup. She's pretty strong, so I just had to look for a large energy source. I found several, but I easily narrowed it down. She has really good control over her magic kills though, I might have missed it if I wasn't specifically looking for her. Really? That's surprising. Ilya is beyond a supercomputer. Even the slightest chance of evading her detection means you're definitely skilled in hiding. Well, that's to be expected of Hinata, one of the strongest humans alive. In the end, I just opened a portal directly inside of Rubrios Royal Capital's walls with a concealment rune covering all of us. Fuck the waiting line. It is currently dark outside. The stars and moon are shining through the barrier into the holy city, creating an atmosphere similar to Avalon's, at first glance. Even so, there's something weird, something off about this place. It's too calm. I never realized how much I enjoyed the random explosions that occur throughout Avalon. It's like these people here in Rubrios don't know how to have fun. Anyway, Ranga ran through the holy capital of Rubrios, carrying Mikoto, Ilya, and I on his back. All of us were under a concealment rune, so barely anyone noticed us. Yes. Barely anyone. Meaning there was one person who did. There was a guy who looked like Jeff from 21 Jump Street, OG Jeff, and I wanted his autograph, so I lifted the visual concealment part of the rune since I had to ask him for one. Well, it was just the visual concealment, so no one could sense us through either magic or through a skill from halfway across the city. People could see us though, and a little kid happened to catch the sight of two girls and a slime riding a white wolf, since I'm still in my slime form on Ranga's head. He told his mom, but no one believed him. Mikoto chided me about removing the concealment and I didn't end up getting the autograph. Oh well, he wasn't the actual Jeff though, so it's not a big loss. Plus, I have two Jeffs at home in ways. Where was I? Oh right, it's night and Ranga ran through the city. We quickly tracked down Hinata Sakaguchi and we ended up face to face with her directly. She's alone, thankfully. She's just calmly walking through a very large white empty hall, so I don't need to appear in the middle of a large group of racist humans. She has short black hair and sharp violet eyes. She's wearing a long white coat over some light magisteel armor with an elegant sword strapped to her hip. Or rather than a sword, it's more of a rapier that's a bit thicker than your garden variety. Now, she still doesn't know we're here, so. Rimuru, what do? I don't think I can just pop into existence saying I'm not a bad slime, since I'm sure that would startle her. I also don't want to just reveal myself and have Hinata call for backup, so. Rimuru, oh I know. Mikoto gets a bad feeling and slowly turns her head towards me. Mikoto, Rimuru. What were you planning to do? Rimuru, I was just gonna kidnap her into the mirror dimension? Mikoto. Rimuru. Ilya. Ranga happy panting asterisk. Hinata suddenly stops and looks in our direction with narrowed eyes. I know she can't see or sense me since she's not looking directly at me and only staring in my general direction, but. Rimuru, whoa, that's some scary intuition. Rimuru, anyway, let's kidnap her. Ilya, ooh. Mikoto, wait. Ilya cheers with me as Mikoto tries to stop me, but I already jumped off Ranga's back while transforming into my human form and shoved my hand into a small portal I made with spatial ruler. My hand pops out of another portal behind Hinata and reaches out towards her. I wriggle my fingers a bit before grabbing her collar and pulling backwards. The portal my arm is extending out from expands and fragments like glass and Hinata gets pulled into it. As for me, I pull my arm out of the portal next to me, but Hinata is nowhere to be seen. She's already in the mirror dimension. Rimuru, right. Let's go. I create a large portal under me and I immediately fall through it, finding myself dropping in the same place in the large white hall. If there's a difference, it would be how the surroundings constantly move like the surface of an ocean of glass. I then proceed to duck as a sword comes flying over my head. The ends of my long white hair get cut by the sword as I thank Hakuru for training my instincts to such a degree. Rimuru, that was close. I underestimated Hinata. I wasn't expecting her to hide her presence and sneak attack me as soon as I came in. I leap forward and use my hand as a spring to flip myself away from my position. I land on my feet, looking back at the sword and its user. Rimuru, right, first things first, hello Hinata Sakaguchi, my name is Rimuru. I want to talk to you. Hinata, is that so? A cold voice responds to my introduction and Hinata rushes forward with speeds that I've rarely seen in my short life. She can easily match Hakuru in speed. She slashes her rapier at me, aiming straight at my neck, to which I just lean backwards. Mid-swing, just as the blade was passing by my neck, she thrust forward piercing straight towards my jugular. Jesus Christ, this woman is lethal. Well, not that she's any threat. Scat hack. I write a rune in the air with my magicules and then flick it towards Hinata. Not expecting me to move as fast as her, her eyes widen slightly before her usual calculating look replaces her surprise. She halts her attack and spins her body, causing the rune to helplessly fly past her. Feeling the rune disappear through her magic sense, so resumes her attack. What she didn't know was that the rune didn't actually disappear. Ever since Rune Master evolved into an ultimate skill, I could easily add several effects to a single rune. An example would be the concealment rune I used to hide me and my companions as Ranga ran through Ribirio's capital. It contained a concealing effect for both physical and supernatural perceptions. This rune I just made also has several effects. One of them is a delayed concealing effect. The other is a boomerang effect. Hinata couldn't sense the rune only because it concealed its magical signature after she dodged it. After that, Hinata thrusts her rapier towards me again, this time heading straight towards Heart. However, I don't move and just casually smile. Hinata realizes something is wrong, but Rimuru Owari, it's over. Flum. The rune hits, causing a magical shockwave to rush over the surface of her body, slowing her down and eventually freezing her in place. She can't move. Ranga jumps through the portal into the mirror dimension I made along with Ilya and Mikoto. Only a few seconds have passed since Hinata and I started fighting. That's how fast we were moving. Even then, I'm guessing that wasn't Hinata's top speed. But even so, she can't move anymore. Ranga, you fought, Master? Ranga eagerly asks as he shrinks his size and walks up to me with a wagging tail. Ilya just smiles and runs up to me, clinging onto my arm. Mikoto sighs while shaking her head, walking forwards with her hands in her pockets. Mikoto, I knew that would happen if you kidnapped her like this. Yeah, I had an inkling that would have happened too. There were several ways I could have contacted Hinata peacefully, without startling her, but Rimuru, where's the fun in that? Hinata and Mikoto stare at me with blank expressions. Name, Rimuru. Race, Origin Slime. Protection, Crest of Space. Title, Highest Tier Spirit, Leader of the Monsters, Oniai-chan, King of Avalon, Master of Headpats, Procrastinator King, the Nutcracker. Manas, Iliasville. Ultimate Skills, Belzebuth, Lord of Gluttony, Ahura Mazda, Lord of Creation, Scathach, Lord of Runes. Unique Skills, Spatial Ruler. Intrinsic Skills, Infinite Regeneration, Universal Shapeshift, Universal Sense, Enhanced Replication, Universal Thread. Extra Skills, Lord's Ambition, Thought Communication, Control Natural Elements, Control Magic, Control Gravity. Resistances, Cancel Pain, Resist Melee Attack, Cancel Natural Elements, Cancel Ailments, Resist Spiritual Attack, Resist Holy/Demonic Attack. Equipment, Yamato, Raphael, Skill Orb, Limiter Ring. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kayashin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Ben Phillips. Yami Tancho. Harold Martinsons. Kenny Nielsen. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be here until next time.